Hello, I am Olale Badmos and this is my YouTube channel. So here you will get mathematics and science lesson videos, difficult concepts made easy through well explained and thorough methods of teaching. To get notifications from this channel, subscribe, like and share. Share to your neighbors, share to your friends, share to that student, share even as a parent to other parents, alright, who have students and children in secondary education. I want to assure you that you are going to get lessons that appeal to the understanding of your words, of your children, of your students, and even you as a student. Thank you. So now the second theorem. Now, which states that the angle in a semicircle is 90 degrees. Now, let's see how that is. So let's have an angle, just in a semicircle. Now, I told you earlier, right, that angles are formed at the vertex. Angles are formed at the vertex. So let's say this is x. Let's say this is x. So what we want to prove, right? We want to prove that AXB, that's the angle at x, right, is 90 degrees. Is a right angle. So AXB, we want to prove that it is 90 degrees. How do we go about that? Now, this is a semicircle. Semicircle simply refers to half of a circle. Now, I have said it earlier, right, that now in a circle, all angles converge at the center. They all converge, right, at the center, and the sum of angles at that point, right, is 360 degrees. Is 360 degrees. So think about it. If the sum of angles at the center, right, of a circle is 360, now we have half of a circle. So half of a circle will be what? Will be 180 degrees. 180 degrees, right? 180 degrees. So what that means is that the angle at the center, let me put it this way, AOB is 180 degrees. Angle at the center of a semicircle. Now, another thing about geometry is that for every thing you write, you must have the reason for it, right? You must write the reason. You must write it there. It's equally important as the calculation. So AOB is 180 degrees. What's the reason? The angle at the center of a semicircle is 180, right? I just explained that all the angles we convert at the point, right? That sum of angles at the point is 360 degrees. So, and that's in a circle. Now we now have half of a circle. Half of a circle, right? That's 360 divided by 2, which is what? 180. So AOB is 180 degrees. Another reason could be that this is angles on a straight line, right? Angle on a straight line is 180 degrees. That's another reason. Now, what is the angle in a semicircle? So now that we know that AOB is 180 degrees, now don't forget I told you that once you are able to prove and to master the first theorem, right, the other theorems will be a walkover. Now you'll be able to apply the first theorem here, right? So if AOB is 180 degrees and AOB is the angle at the center, it suffices to say that the angle at the circumference will be 90 degrees. It suffices to say that the angle at the circumference will be what? Will be 90 degrees. What that means is that now the first theorem, that the angle at the center, right, is twice the angle at the circumference. The angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. So if this is 180 degrees and it is twice the angle here, that means this is 90 degrees. It is 90 degrees. So we'll say that AXB, right, which is the angle at the circumference, is equal to 180 degrees divided by 2. And what's the reason? Angle at the center is equal to twice the angle at the circumference. At the circumference. Right? So 180 divided by 2 is 90 degrees. So therefore, the angle at x, AXB, right, in a semicircle is equal to 90 degrees. Is equal to 90 degrees. So let's take the third theorem, which states that the angles in a segment, in the same segment are equal. So we have, let's draw a circle. This is a circle with center O, right? With center O. So this is radius, right? So here, like we've always done, we really don't have to put anything there, but let's leave it like that. You know that this is the angle subtended by this arc at the center. So let this be AB, right? So the third theorem, right, is that the angle in the same segment, are equal. Now, how do we know, or how do we draw or describe a segment? We have seen that before. How that to split a circle into segments, you need a chord. So here we have chord AB, right? And this is arc ABC or ACB. Now, chord AB divides the circle into two segments. So let this be, okay, let's say D, all right, for the sake of explanation. Now, ADB is an arc, right? The space within ADB is a segment, right? The space within ADB is a segment. This is what I'm saying, that if this were not here, right? If it was just the chord divides the circle into two segments, the major segment and the minor segment. So this is now saying that angles that are found in the same segment, they are equal. They are the same, right? They have the same value. So let's see how that goes. So we have the center of the circle. These are radii, right? Center of the circle O. So let's draw two angles, right? Let's say we have, this is one angle, right? Let's draw another angle, on this side. Angle on this side. So let's say we have something like this, all right? So what you need to pay attention to are these two angles, right? These two angles are found in the same segment. They are found in the same segment. Now, this is the center of the circle, O, and this is the angle at the center of the circle, right? The angle at the center of the circle, right? Can you see that? So let's say this is X, and this is Y. So there is an angle at X, there is also an angle at Y. All right? There's an angle at X, there is also another angle at Y. So we say that angle AX, let's say AXO, all right, for the sake of what we are explaining, or let's even say AXB, right, since this extends to B. AXB and angle AYB, right, are angles in the same segment, in the same segment, right? So how then can we prove? We want to prove, right? Prove that angle AXB, right, is equal to angle AYB. Angle AXB, the angle here, is equal to the angle AYB, and both of them are in the same segment, right? So from what we have done before, the angle at the center, right, is twice the angle at the circumference. The angle at the center is twice the angle at the other part of the circumference. So here we will say that AOB, right, is twice AXB, right? AOB AYB, the angle at the center, that's our reason, angle at the center, right, is equal to twice the angle at the circumference. Right? So that is for AXB. So the same thing for AYB. AOB is also equal to 2AYB. Right? Same reason. Angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. Alright, so if AOB, right, now both of them are relating to AOB. So if the angle at the angle AOB is 2 times the angle AXB, right, the angle AOB is also 2 times the angle AYB. It suffices to say, right, that AXB, right, is equal to AYB. Both of them are equal. Again, if AOB, the angle at the center, is twice the angle at X and is also twice the angle at Y, right, it suffices to say that the angle at X is equal to the angle at Y. So angle AXB is equal to angle AYB. So we've been able to see that first, we've been able to prove that the angle at the center of a circle, subtended by an arc, right, is twice the angle at the remaining part of the circumference. That's one. The second theorem we've been able to prove is that the angle in a semicircle, half of a circle, the angle in a semicircle is 90 degrees, is a right angle. And the third is to prove that the angles in the same segment, right, are equal. They are equal. So from here, right, we begin to see some applied questions, or better still, we'll see other circle theorems, all right, so that when we see questions, because one thing about geometry is that you need to bring one or two or more theorems together, in fact, to solve about 3 or 4, right, to solve a particular question. So let's see, we're going to see more theorems, and then we'll begin to apply them one after the other. Alright, so I hope that lesson was effective enough to help your understanding and to help you learn better. I want to believe that you've gotten better than before. So if you have not subscribed, do well to do that. Subscribe, like and share to everyone around you so you can get more notifications. Thank you. Bye.